Hey guys. So it's Friday morning.
Friday morning.
Oh my gosh.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's funny because we don't live that way, do we? What day? I have time. I often say the day because I want to. Oh, where am I? It's how I bring myself into this moment. We're here this morning with Tessa, and Tessa and I have known each other for a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, like 30 years maybe. Not that we've known each other well, but we've known of each other. And we've been in the same community, the Waldorf community, and then all of a sudden you grew up. And,
it's amazing how that happens.
Yeah, and then you were friends with Annie. And Annie and I've known each other since she was like grade 1.
A child, yeah.
Yeah, pre-grade 1. And so it's, I'm just grateful to have you in my life all these years and being part of your community. And
Thank you.
And Tessa's come today to talk to us a little bit about what's happening with the SelfRealization Fellowship that you've been part of for
14 years now.
14 years. And you joined or became part of it because?
Well, because I think from a child I was a spiritual seeker, even though I didn't understand that at the time. But a miraculous and beautiful journey led me to SelfRealization Fellowship and a connection to Yogananda. And so it was undeniable.
And I'm just going to hold the book up.
Sure.
If I think that like this is a cornerstone of most people's spiritual search, if you will.
Yes.
Everybody's read this, right? I mean, it's a rite of passage when you're out there in the world and you're thinking, what's going on here, and I want to learn more about spirituality, and so this is the autobiography of a yogi, and you can actually get this now on Audible.
Ah.
Yes, and listen to it in the car, and it's an amazing, it's a classic. It really is. So, and this was written before he came to the U.S. or after, do you think?
No, that was written after. Yeah,
yes.
After. Yeah.
So this was his autobiography. And so Yogananda came in the 30s?
No, he arrived in Boston in 1920.
Oh, wow.
He was sent on a mission from his line of gurus from India to come to America. And he had various experiences which showed him that indeed that was his life's work, was to come. And he got an invitation to attend in Boston a conference of basically spiritual leaders from different paths around the world, and an international conference of spiritual leaders. And he could not speak a word of English almost. And he kept praying and not believing, am I supposed to do this? I'm going to be speaking to an audience in Boston. And sure enough, it came through that, yes, you are supposed to go, and have no fear. Have no fear. You will find the words. And, with his turban and his monk's robes and, looking so very uniquely Indian,
yes.
to a very Judeo-Christian crowd. He showed up, and sure enough, he gave this incredible lecture on yoga, and introduced yoga to the world. There was some other masters working in the U.S. Already at that time, but he was the first yogi to take up permanent residence in the United States.
What I think about the teachings of Yogananda and why this book has become like a multi-million seller, it is because it's quite inclusive. It's not the teachings are not exclusive. You can enjoy the teachings of Yogananda and still be a Christian, or still be a practicing Jew, or still be another teaching of Hinduism, you know, and so his whole thing was quite, you know, based on love, and as opposed to one right way. Although he certainly has some methodology, and so you've been practicing that for 14 years. Some of his
Yes.
His path to awakening.
Yes.
And
So the heart of Yogananda's, I would say, gift that he has given to the world is called SelfRealization Fellowship. That is the organization that he founded in 1921 and brought subsequently all over the world. There are now Self-Realization Fellowship organizations in like 80 countries. Autobiography's been translated into, you know, dozens and dozens of languages. And this essentially, for people who would like to learn the techniques behind, is you enroll in the lessons. And the lessons were all written and created by Yogananda himself before he left his body. And there's no classes or trainings or levels or teachers in this path. You prescribe to lessons that Yogananda laid out and walks you through a series of them. And it's the same thing that he taught to all of his disciples when he was here. And in that way, you don't get people coming later on with their own interpretations and changing the information and things like that. So we get calls saying, you know, can you please, when's the next class? Can you please teach me the Kriya Yoga techniques? And we'll say, we can't. We offer the Self-Realization Fellowship Calgary Temple, where people can come and meditate together. And meditating together, as you know, has a vibratory effect on meditation, both for the long-time meditator and for the new person. This can raise up the vibration in the consciousness while meditating. And so group meditation is a beautiful and important part of being a meditator.
So that being said, really maybe early in this talk, one of the reasons that we're getting together today is because there's an event.
There's an event, yes. There's an event next Wednesday, October 30th, at the Globe Cinema downtown. It's called Meditation, the Source of Lasting Joy. This event is a stop on a monastic tour that Self-Realization Fellowship is doing across various major centers in the United States and Canada, and then actually onto Europe as well. So we are going to have two monastics from Self-Realization Fellowship come and give a lovely talk on Kriya Yoga, on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, and also on what really is meditation and what can it do for you, how can it affect you and change your life. And after that talk, they are going to guide us in a beautiful 30-minute group meditation, easily accessible for the beginner and for the long-time meditator. And everyone is welcome from all paths. If you have a different meditation path, you're welcome as well. It's lovely to meditate together, and especially right now in a very polarized and divisive time, it's like medicine that we can do for ourselves, is to come together and meditate. So we're looking really forward to that event. It's free. It's free. Please
meditation
come.
Is medication?
Meditation is medication. Yay! I like it. That's a new hashtag. YYC, meditation as medication.
Yes.
12 years old and up, and it's free.
Yes.
And we're going to actually kick it off. The doors open at 6 p.m., a bit earlier than the event. And there's going to be a short film inside the theater called The Early Years of Paramahansa Yogananda. And that'll give people a sense of, the very first yogi coming to America and, how that experience was for him. Some of the footage is very, very cute indeed.
Who was his teacher?
So he is from the Mountain Giri in the ancient Vedic lineage, Mountain-giri. So his guru or teacher was Swami Sri Yukteswar of the Mountain-giri. And so he was actually Swami Yogananda until reaching a certain point in his enfoldment where he was given the name Paramahansa. Basically, divine swan of love.
Is that what Paramahansa means?
Yeah, I mean, Ananda is love, but Parma is like, and so he was given that name. But yeah, that lineage flows through actually all the way back to Babaji. So Babaji, who is the sort of, I guess, bringer of Kriya Yoga. So this is a Babaji line.
Babaji has a cameo in this book.
He does have a cameo in this book, and it's cool. And Babaji, very connected to both Krishna and Christ. So a lot of the heart of this path is taking the essence of Christ's teaching and the essence of Krishna's teaching and saying, see, aren't they saying the same thing? At the heart of it, aren't they saying the same thing? And then what is the essential, or what is the indisputable truth behind that? When you peel back all the layers of religion, what is the truth? And how that is our truth inside us. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Bhagavad Gita.
Me too.
And Stephen Mitchell did a translation recently in the last.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, it's amazing.
A recent translation. I'd
Well,
like to read that.
I'm saying recent, maybe 10 years, but and it's really, really sweet.
Cool.
And the Bhagavad Gita is, just such a beautiful piece. It's really the core of Hindu teachings, and it's Krishna speaking to
Arjuna.
Arjuna, yes.
I have like Sir Edwin Darnold, back in the in the English days there. I read in university. I kept on myself his translation of the Bhagavad Gita before I had found this path. And my very favorite section of all that whole work is trying to describe the indescribable way, the magnetism that God or home or the soul or consciousness with a capital C, whatever, that indescribable thing is, the magnetism that draws the soul that you cannot help, that says, like moths which flutter towards the light, flying and dying ceaselessly. And I fell so in love with the Bhagavad Gita.
Nice. Yes. Well, when we finish, maybe we'll go up and I have a bit of a library upstairs, and I'll show you some. But that book is one of my faves, and I have it on Audible, so I just listen to it over and over again in the car.
I think this books on tape thing is amazing.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. So you started this search, but before this, I guess you just said you were reading the Bhagavad Gita. Before you found the SelfRealization Fellowship.
My mother was, putting me in a Waldorf School. She was a pioneer in all these spiritual movements, as I would say that you were, and many at that time, pioneering and the New Age has got a really bad rap. But essentially, everything we have kombucha in Costco. My New Age mother grew it on the counter in the 80s. Okay. She was the first person to discover this young living oils and start healing with essential oils. Now you have hundreds of people in your Rolodex that are selling this stuff. I just wish she could have lived long enough to see that all the weird ass things she did are so
commonplace now.
And these pioneers had to come to pave the way. And so my mother had quite a library, everything theosophy, anthroposophy, all of the mystics, so she was an avid, she read and soaked it up. And at about 12, I started reading her bookshelf. So Joel Cool, just checking into all of this esoteric information. And there was, like I said, you either have that seeker seed in you, I think, in this lifetime, or you don't. And so I had it clearly, and you know, with the expectation my children will have it, and maybe my daughter doesn't, right? So you have to let that go.
Yeah,
to later,
right.
everyone's not like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was hungry, and I entered university. Honestly, I didn't know at the time, but I thought I could figure it out in university.
Yeah.
So I
knowledge
took,
will make it.
not knowledge, like this mental quest. I will figure this thing out. Thou shalt be figured out.
Understanding. Well, it's interesting because we're strongly conditioned to believe that. And I remember when I used to travel with Paul years ago, and you know, then he said that understanding was the booby prize. You know, understanding really wasn't.
That's not the end goal.
That's not it. Yeah, you know, and I would try to understand that.
So I had gone through university.
Yes.
I was in general studies, which people laughed and said, "Oh, you're a basket weaver." But it allowed me the freedom to take classes from every faculty. I took everything from the arts and dance and art to mathematics and science and social science. And I was trying to figure it all out. You know, I can find the answer of what it is. What are we doing here? What's the purpose of life? And it was nearing the end of that journey. I had discovered the mystic poets and fell deeply in love. I had an actual love affair with Hafez. Now that's kind of weird. Rumi, you know, Kabir, all of these, Tagore, you know, even Meister Eckhart in your Western, in the Western, you know, Saint Teresa of Avila. And so I was, you know, I was being inspired by these words, and I was feeling that divine call and love and yearning. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't like it wasn't, I hadn't set the course. I was still digesting and pulling from all these places. And I was right near my end of my university journey. And something in me is very frustrated. I didn't want to leave university for some reason. I was in there a long time. And I remember you know, I can't remember where my keys are or where I put my phone, but there's moments that are burned into your consciousness in your life.
Weld spot moments, we call them.
Okay. I like that there's a name for these moments. And I left the front door on my way to class one day, and I was in this rental house at this crazy slamming. It slammed behind me. And I remember looking up, and I just said, that's it. I'm done looking. Just send me the one teacher who knows and can help me find the way. And it was that was those soul calls. And it was like
beseeched him.
I'm ready now, you know. And when you look at, you know, in the Bhagavad Gita, you can find that in the Bible. It says, you know, it's law, knock, and the door shall be answered. You know, ask, and it shall be given. If you look even in the Quran, I mean, if you look in every major work, it will say that this is a spiritual law. You cannot ask from that place and not have it come to you. It's a miracle. It's a divine birthright we are given, you know, and it's beautiful. So I let that seed go, and what happened after that was a cascading of things that you are beyond the realm of some logical part of your brain to say, oh well, that's coincidence, or that's causal, that's no, it was he came in. So, you know, a bus driver in LA drove off her bus route to drop me at his Lake Shrine ashram. You know, if you know anything about bus drivers in LA, everyone will tell you that's not possible. My car died in front of the Calgary branch of SelfRealization Fellowship. Literally, the engine died. I thought, oh my God, there must be people waiting for me. Walked up to the door in fear to open the door. Of course, it's locked. I mean, there's this level of self-importance when you get to these magical coincidences at that point in the journey, right? There was on my birthday sitting down to listen to a talk of Yogananda, and thousands of people start singing happy birthday. because that talk happened to be recorded on his birthday. There was just so many things. I mean, going to, I'd like to order this thing from your business. Oh, I'm sorry, we closed down our actual location, but you may come pick it up at our house. And there being a 6-foot tall picture of Yogananda when I opened the door. What the? I mean, beyond all coming and saying, you called and I'm here.
Here we are, yeah.
You know? So if you were to say, even 15 years ago, and I've been on this path 14, you will have a guru, I would be like, yeah, right.
Whatever.
That word was like, no, I don't follow people, you know? Not understanding, it just really means teacher who's here to serve you, to find what's already in you.
Yeah.
Someone who has found the way
Yeah.
to whatever you want to call it, and is in service to helping you. But, you know, from wherever you want to go and inside you, not a prescribed list of rules that you need to follow. And if you don't, you're kicked out.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's what I mean. He's very inclusive.
Yeah. Well, okay. If someone's not, they don't know the way.
Yeah.
Stop listening right there. Thank you. Have a great day. Not interested, you know? And people slag on religion. The heart of every single major religion has the mystic essence. So go in search of that.
The heart is love.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Sufis spin in Islam in that heart of love, right? You know, in the Gnostics, you know, just go to the heart of it if you want to stay in your path. It's beautiful. At the heart of every one of the paths is love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love, David. That's it.
That is it. I was sharing with you my weekend with Pamela Wilson, and you know, she's so exhibited the practical of bringing love into every situation. You know, it's one thing to talk about love, but she's really gotten, you know, taught me this weekend past that how to embrace whatever is coming up with love. And you know, it's just like she just did it over and over and over again with people. They come and sit beside her at the front and talk about what was happening in their life, and she would share with them to embrace it, and she would embrace it, and it would melt. You know, love melts, you know, all of our perceived problems, you know, or melts all of our you know, belief systems of who we think we are. And if we focus on love, I believe that, you know, in each situation we rise up to that, you know, and we become that love. And from being that love, there's, you know, then we can be in our potential. We can really lift up everyone. You know, we'll be love really does lift up everyone. You know, it's not just in the song.
And Yogananda would say, love is the song of the soul, singing to God.
Have you read any David Hawkins?
No.
But I just love what he did, because he built a vibrational scale, and he had unconditional love.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Familiar a little bit with that, yeah.
Yeah, well over halfway up, and Christ consciousness at, you know, in his scale was like 1,000, which was, you know, the kind of, and unconditional love though, he had at like 540, and it was just really nice to see that we can vibrate at this unconditional love place, and there isn't really, if we're not there, what is the message? You know, and what you know, I know that Yogananda, that was his message, and that continues to be his message, and of unconditional love, and
yeah, that God is love,
yes.
and that it's real, and it's inside all of us,
yes,
and it's waiting. It's waiting for us to turn our light of attention from constantly going out,
yes,
to coming back in. And it's a pivotal and important thing. And that's the importance of meditation and daily meditation, is that the senses naturally seek out all the time. The ear is listening always for out. The eyes are trying to seek the light out. So our senses are geared towards out. And now our cell phones and all of this other stuff, it's all out, 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 attention out. But the changes and that vibration lifting and love is going to come from the searchlight turned back in.
Yes.
And
because ultimately we are love. And you know, we're created from that love. And it's realizing that becomes self-realization.
Self-realized. I am love. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do.
Yes, this is it. This is it.
No, there's nothing to seek in the end, you know, that you are, you know, what you've been looking for. And like Rumi says, you know, little did I know that, you know, I was searching for this vast ocean, and it was actually, you know, in the veins within my own neck kind of thing, you know, like it's everything we've been always seeking is right within. But it's difficult, I think, without setting the course, like I said, to set your course and go. And Kriya Yoga will set that course. It gives you a techniques to, like I was saying before, Yogananda calls this path the airplane route to God. It sets the course so that you can, you know, stay on track and more quickly. I was doing meditation for many years, and beautiful as it was, by myself without any techniques, because I didn't want anyone's systems to you know, influence and make my experience less pure or something. And so, but and though though those years were beautiful in their own way, and I had many experiences, I still sort of like floundered for, you know, and it has been a blessing in my life to find a path and a technique so old, proven by, you know, the Himalayan Masters, to contact the subtle energies inside the spine, and to turn the attention not only, you know, when you say look within, well, what the hell does that mean? Okay, I'll close my eyes, I guess, you know, but to realize that, you know, there is a light in the darkness behind closed eyes, that you can actually work on seeing it more clearly, and that actually you can sort of like fold yourself inside and be able to actually experience and be aware of the subtle energies traveling up and down the spine. And now you're able to actually control to the point of stopping the breath. And the next level, stopping the heartbeat. And people will say, get out of town. No, this is, how did the yogis supposedly live so long? How do these masters handle the extreme cold, the extreme hot, etc.? It's going so deeply into that experience.
Stillness.
That stillness, that there's amazing things that you can do there, you know. I have had my breath completely stop for a long period of time. I mean, that you don't know. The second that I realize my breath has stopped, there it comes back again. Yeah,
for sure.
So, you know, it's an incredible journey.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Can I tell you just I've been really called to teach meditation.
Yes.
And
your previous video, in fact, if we check that out.
And I so starting I think it's the 4th of November, which is the first Monday of November. We've booked some space at the Scarborough United Church.
It's a beautiful place.
Isn't it beautiful? Yes. And easy to get to, and everybody knows where it is, and there's lots of parking, and it's just, you know, it really is a special place. And so for 7 Monday evenings,
nice.
We're going to do what I call my Meditation Mondays.
Cool.
And lots of people, I think, who want to learn to meditate aren't sure why, you know, are afraid of maybe jumping right into this or whatever, you know, to become a devotee of any particular path, So I want to be there for those folks to help them in the beginning of, what happens with meditation and what do we do with the mind, and so that's my it seems to be my path, is to work with lots of folks. Now, what's interesting is I do the meditations. I've been doing them here on Monday evenings, and a lot of the group that comes come every week because they just love what we're doing, and some of them are really experienced long-term meditators, but I want to have them in the group as well, and if every evening we can have half of the group are kind of new, that and half of the group are been around in meditation world for a long time. It lifts, we can help lift them up, and it's when you're in a group meditation and then you feel that stillness, even as a new person, to come out of the meditation, like, wow, I don't know what happened, but something happened.
Something.
And because they don't have the language and they don't have the experience, and they're like,
and it doesn't really even matter.
No,
because having the experience is what matters.
And so what I want to encourage is for those people to begin a practice of a daily meditation, and it is, meditation becomes like knocking on the door, the call, and then spirit, divinity comes. It doesn't come to them because it is in them, but it awakens.
Comes to them and it is in them.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I'm excited about doing that, and I think that whoever we get to sit with is whether it's in the Buddhist tradition, some great folks in many traditions that have a powerful road to home, and I'm excited about this. I think that that theater will hold.
It holds 400, and we have 200 tickets sold so far.
Nice, but
and
not really
when I say
sold.
Tickets sold, you just there's a link. I'm sure David will put the link on.
We'll put
on
it
the
on
post.
here. Yes,
and we're just having people register to make sure that everybody who wants to come has a seat in the theater. So.
And can we still get popcorn?
That's a great question. I don't even know the answer to that. I imagine so.
The popcorn thing will have to be open. I can't.
Popcorn meditators.
We can't sit in the theater without popcorn.
That is a really good question.
So these monks that are coming, are they Western? Are they Indian? Are they?
No, I believe that the two that are coming have their original roots in Europe, if I understand correctly.
Nice.
But monks in the SelfRealization Fellowship order are from all over.
Yes.
So the last time that we hosted an event with the monastics from this path was 2012, and there was one originally born and raised in Spain. So it's really, I believe, just from the facial recognition of the main brother that's coming, that he looks like a Northern European originally.
Wow.
But in this path, it's from all over. There's, there is a sister organization that Yogananda started in India before he came to the United States, and that's it's also the self-realization path, but called Yogoda. And that primarily has a lot of the Indian monastics, but there's even Indian monastics in California. California is home base for this self-realization fellowship.
Somewhere in the San Francisco area, or
it's actually Mount Washington, so just like right LA is the center department, but there is like a ashram in Ranchi, which is more in the countryside. Pacific Palisades is it's where my husband and I got married. It's called Lake Shrine, and it's a lake in the middle of LA, surrounded by the most beautiful gardens, and you would never know where you are except for like the airplane traffic going on above your head. And the first time I ever visited that place, like I said, this miraculous thing occurred to drop me right there. I saw like 2 hummingbirds and 2 turtles and 2 swans And it was like, whoa, man. It was like Noah's Ark at this place. What's happening? But beautiful.
Right in the middle of LA.
Right in the middle of Pacific Palisades. And if you were to drive by, you wouldn't even, I mean, it's fenced and there's a hedge and whatnot. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. But if anyone is in the LA area, please go spend an afternoon meditating at Lake Shrine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming back for us.
Aw.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when we have, you know, an experience of awakening, it actually seems to be part of the experiences that we, for many of us, that we need to give it away. You know, and
to serve.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, thank you for listening to that call, and you and Greg have done a lot these years in Calgary to carry a message, you know, of love and awakening and joy, and so thank you for doing that.
And thank you. Thank you for having these videos, and going to have
These
your
are
Monday
fun.
night meditations.
These are fun. I really
Yay.
love doing this.
Awesome.
It's so much fun. And so if you're watching this, if you have any questions, if you know, post them, and Tessa will answer, because you'll be able to do that, and you can share this on your channels.
Okay.
You know, after you can share it on. Does Self-Realization have a Facebook page?
Yeah, it's Self-Realization Fellowship Calgary. There's lots of information about the event on there.
So you can share this on there, and then
and there is a website, srfcalgary.ca.
Yeah.
And the email for any questions is info@srfcalgary.ca.
So, folks, if you're part of the Self-Realization Fellowship, share it on your profile, and this is how more and more people will know about this using this technology. We're also going to put it on YouTube, and so if you want to go into YouTube and take the link and send it in an email, whatever you'd like to do with it on YouTube. I love it if you follow us on YouTube. We're Bali and Beyond, Project Awakening on YouTube, and I'm going to put it on LinkedIn, and we do this also on IGTV.
Wow.
And so. Yeah, it's really cool how the technology how many people can see this in such a short time.
You're a hip teched out guy. It's great.
It's and this is just the beginning. I'm a big Gary V fan. Do you have Gary Vaynerchuk? Do you know?
Yes.
And because Gary says, imagine what we've done in 15 years with technology. Just think where we're going to be in 15 years.
Yeah.
And for lots of us, especially in my age group, if we don't get into it now, it's just totally going to pass us by. With technology, and so I do like it, actually. I enjoy being part of, and every day I'm learning something new about how to carry a message to more people. And the message is?
And the message is, see you next Wednesday at the Globe at 7 p.m.
That's the message. I was going to say the message was love. It is.
But actually, the message is definitely love.
Yes. Okay, thanks, you guys. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.